Welcome back to another episode of Two Joes and a Pro. As always, you have your hosts Kenny, Ryan, and Brian. My guys, I hope you guys are well rested. We had a long weekend, going up to New York, watching an
It's a great
uneventful,
weekend.
uneventful, Giants versus Panthers game.
What? The
Um,
I
Panthers
mean, it
were
was
there?
pretty. It was pretty
I didn't think
eventful.
they showed up. I thought they stayed on the bus.
nah,
Damn.
I don't want to say all that.
I'm just
Um,
playing.
it was uneventful. It wasn't a lot. We thought it was gonna be way more scoring, but it wasn't. That was the only part about it. And I was
It
freezing
was.
cold listening to Brian
Yeah.
talking about you don't need to wear a jacket.
It was
We
fine.
could have walked you down to the pro shop, got you a nice little Giants hoodie.
Hey,
Been
Never.
all
you know
right.
what? Maybe if the Giants were such cheap asses and put the friends and family up in the nosebleeds, we would have been fine.
That's that's true.
So it's a
Yeah,
Giants'
That was
fault. Don't blame
yeah.
me.
that was
That
pretty
that was
bad.
crazy. Shout out to P for getting us the tickets, but that was crazy. I'm like, bro, where we going? This is a to the Tizop. I said, God, Lee won't be. Were you about to hop on a helicopter? They got us
Literally the
way
top.
up there. They got us way up there.
I think they only had like 3 rows behind us or something.
That's it.
Yeah.
We about to doggone free fall. Shoot.
I do want to say a couple things about the game.
Yeah.
The Giants rookie defensive end really showed up. I think he had 2.5 sacks. Ojar, I can't even say his name. Az.
AZ Ojulari.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the Georgia defensive end that we drafted this year. He really showed
Had
out. I
him
mean,
on Madden.
he's got 5.5 sacks, so I'm pretty pumped about that. He's not gonna get like defensive player of the year unless he like really blows up. Because what's his name from the Cowboys is probably gonna get it.
One caveat.
Parsons. Go
One
ahead.
caveat. I'm not let you finish. If I recall, we talked about AZ. We talked about
Yep.
Gregory Rousseau, and we talked about Jalen Phillips, right?
Yeah.
So
I think we talked about. Well, we didn't
we
talk
talked.
about Parsons because we figured he
No,
was
no,
like an
no.
obvious
Parsons is
front
not in
runner.
it. Parsons not in this. This is between us three, right? So Rousseau's been balling. Kudos to Brian. AZ's been balling. Kudos to me. But where the hell is Phillips? Where's Phillips
He's
at?
chilling, man. He's chilling, son.
Where's
Yeah.
he
He's
at?
chilling.
What does Brian say? Brian said, "Listen, if you want to take a defensive rookie of the year, hey, for BK Betts, he said that's a good person to put your money on." I said, "AZ is a good person to put your money on." You were talking
Well,
all
you
this
had took my player, so
Phillips crap,
gotta do what you gotta do.
and he disappeared. Anyway, my
He's
bad.
very. Hey, you know
can
what?
continue.
Give me a break. It's not over yet. He's got 1.5 sacks.
Yeah.
It's over, bro.
Balling.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, by the way, shout out to MetLife Stadium with the best pretzels. You know what I mean? The best pretzels, and we walked, like 5 flights of stairs. Right? Brian got some exercise on the way up to the Tizop.
Yep. I burned off the calories of my French fries before I even got to my seat.
He was
Good
so mad.
Lord.
He was pissed. But guess what? That's what's needed. We got to get right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The New Year's coming.
And Russo only has 3 sacks, so don't act like he's like balling out or
Bro,
some shit.
bro, he had a pick 6 as a defensive
Yeah.
end.
Yeah,
Shut
he
up.
got lucky. He got lucky.
He didn't get lucky. He did what he's supposed to do. He got his hands up.
He's like 6'8". Give me a break.
That's even worse. That means for him to be 6'8" and to catch a pick 6, that's even more freakish of an athlete. Anyway,
All right.
we'll get straight into it, man. Getting straight into the NBA, I'll touch on a couple things. So I don't know if you guys have been watching. It's only the beginning of the season, so it's only 4 games.
Nobody's watching, but go ahead.
Yeah, right. I'm watching.
I've been watching.
Right. John Morant has been balling. Like, besides Steph Curry, because Steph Curry's on his own little planet right now. He's just Planet Curry, just doing what he wants to do. John Morant's been balling. He's been averaging 35 points, 8 assists. The Memphis Grizzlies I think they're 2-1, 3-1, one of the two. And he's shooting 58% from the field. I know they had that one loss against the Lakers, which was a tight game. He missed some free throws, but other than that, he's been doing his part. I know LeBron's been out. I think this will be his second game that he'll be out with ankle soreness. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if Father Time's catching up or not. But the Lakers do not look the part right now. As a team, we don't look the part. Westbrook, I feel like they need to let the ranks off for Westbrook and just let him go free. But he hasn't really meshed well yet. And I know AD and Dwight got into a little squabble uh, over the last weekend. Speaking on the highlight, the Bulls have been going crazy. The Bulls 4-0, right? Alex Caruso, they call him little baby goat out there in Chicago. Lonzo Ball's been doing his thing. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, who you guys said was trash, but he's been balling. And they look like what the Pelicans wanted to look like 2 years ago. How when they got Zion, they wanted to run up down the court, that running gun. That's what the Bulls look like, and they're in first place. Warriors, of course, is 4-0, first place because Steph Curry is just doing his thing, and they still don't have no Klay Thompson and no James Wiseman. James Wiseman is supposed to be cleared this weekend, and he's supposed to come back, which is going to be a big addition because he's a big man that can run the floor for sure. And then Clay, when he gets back, Moneyball Trey all day. And then I'm hit NCAA real quick. Illinois versus Penn State. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. It was a game that was exciting to watch, but not exciting to watch at the same time because it wasn't much offense the whole game. It was kind of like embarrassing, but until the overtimes. They went to 9 overtimes. And I don't know if you guys know, but I didn't know they changed the rule for after the second overtime, it's 2-point conversions on out. Did y'all know that?
I didn't know when they started that, but
yeah,
I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know it was. I didn't know it was after 2 overtimes. I thought it was.
Yeah, people were pissed. People were like, "Man, that's trash. They shouldn't do that. They should like move it back." Because before it wasn't like that. I think it's either this year or last year they passed the rule. Before, I remember one game, I think it was 2014. Teams went to like 7 overtimes. They were still scoring and going back and forth. But now that 2-point conversion now. And then since he had the brief scare first half versus Navy was looking like the midshipman was going to come out with a dub. But then Ritter put that to a halt and said, "No, we still the guys."
So. It previously was at the 3rd overtime. It would go for 2-point conversion, and then they changed it to the 2nd overtime. So they changed it by 1.
No. This is not. I understand that part. The 2-point conversion after the touchdown. This is after the 3rd overtime. There's 2-point conversions, no touchdown. So they just go from I don't know the 5 or 3 yard line and go for a 2-point.
Oh, okay. So, now I get what you're saying.
So it's like 2 points. That's 2 points. 2 points. I never.
It's just essentially just one play. One play.
Exactly.
So I don't like that.
They did it all the way to 9 overtimes. And then I know Brian's very excited about this. That we'll touch on this a little bit later in BK Bets, but he's been harping on Big Ten being the guys. They got good players. They got good teams and all of that. Well, this is the week. Michigan plays Michigan State this week, 6 versus 8. Ohio State plays Penn State, a healthy quarterback at Penn State, so that should be good. And then a game to look for will be definitely Florida versus Georgia in Jacksonville. I think it's going to be closer than the 14 points. But, yeah, that's what I got for football. And the top 4, the top 4 in the AP poll for the playoffs right now is Georgia at 1, Cincy at 2, Bama at 3, and Oklahoma at 4. So,
who was that for?
Oklahoma.
Yeah, so real quick, can you explain to me how an 8-0 team is below Bama, who lost a game? I'm just curious. Because they're undefeated. And it's not like there's some schmuck team.
They are a schmuck team in a way because they haven't been blowing nobody out, right? If they're blowing somebody out, then it's different. But they haven't blown anybody out. They're playing in the Big 12, which they've been in a nail biter last week versus Kansas. They were in a nail biter the week before. They were in a nail biter versus Texas. They barely beat Texas. So like,
yeah, but at the end of the day, they got all wins.
So, what does that mean?
But Bama lost.
But Bama's playing harder competition. So like, if you lose a game, point being, if BYU is undefeated, BYU should be in the top 4.
No, I mean, yes, sure. You take into account the talent that they're playing, but like, I'm just saying, it's not like Oklahoma is playing that far less talent versus what Bama's faced.
Who's good in Big 12?
I mean, I don't know. Texas.
Name the divisions for you in order. Rank the divisions in order, or the conferences in order.
The conferences?
Yeah, rank them in your mind.
It depends on the year, but This
now.
year,
This year, right now.
This year, right
this
now,
second.
the Big Ten is the best conference. They have the most teams in the top 25.
What?
Yeah, you heard me.
You're tripping.
All right,
You
next.
tripping. He just shot that off his
Next.
ass.
Next. Just let his opinion.
Oh, my
What's
bad,
the
go
next
ahead,
one?
Go ahead.
What's the next one?
What? Oh, SEC.
And then what's third? Give me three or four.
I would say that this year it might be the Pac-10. Honestly, like the ACC is kind of trash for the most part, and then I don't know. And then the Big 12 would be after that, fourth.
Well, Kenny, what do you disagree with?
This man said that doggone they have more teams in the SEC. SEC has 6 teams in the top 25. What are you talking about? The Big 10 has 4, and then after that, the Big 12 has 4. Cut it out, bro. Don't.
He just says random shit.
Yeah,
He doesn't
like
care.
what?
He just doesn't care.
Like the Big 12, I will think. Let me see. I would say they're number 3. They're number 3. I'll give them that because the Pac-12 is wishy-washy. I say they're number 3. But other than that, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't believe you just shot that off your hip. Anyway, go ahead, man. Go get into baseball. Talk about something that you do know. Get into baseball. Okay?
All right,
Tell me
baseball.
about the World Series.
Baseball World Series. We got the Atlanta Braves and the Houston Cheaters. I mean Astros. Listen, Braves are up 1-0 already. Game 2 is tonight right now. They're tied 0-0. They haven't scored any runs yet. But obviously I'm rooting for the Braves because Houston was up to some suspect stuff again, and I just don't like those. I don't like their players. They got like this cocky attitude. I just want the Braves to win. They're much easier to root for.
I feel like that's all of America.
Well, probably. I think Houston is the only place that is rooting for Houston.
Maybe.
But if this series goes too long, Atlanta, their starting pitcher Charlie Morton did get hurt in the first game. Not sure the significance of it yet.
Fracture.
I'm not sure. It was a fracture.
He's
Okay.
out for the series.
So he's, that's a big hit. Like I said, if they start eating up innings and their bullpen needs help, or or their starters suck, the rest of them, Charlie Morton is a pretty good veteran pitcher, so he'll be missed. But if Atlanta takes care of business tonight, they're up 2-0 and they go back home for 3 games. I think they take care of it in 5. They should, Yeah. So we'll see what happens tonight. But either way, they have an advantage already because they stole one at Houston. So
I do like Atlanta's confidence right now. I was watching the game yesterday. They ever since the last series, they've been playing on a different level. Like a lot of the mid-level batters, I think like 4 through 6, they've been playing real good. A lot of teams kind of drop off, but they've been hitting pretty well. So
yeah, I mean, hey, they took care of business when they had to. I mean, their record wasn't that great this year, and they lost their best player, one of the top 3 players in the whole MLB. So the fact that they're even here, that's awesome, and they're hot. So we'll see. That's about it though for baseball.
let's get to it.
All right. NFL. Hey, did you guys see the Bucks game where Mike Evans gave the 600th touchdown pass ball to one of the fans?
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. I was trying to look up like all the stuff that they gave him. So they had to negotiate. Brady had to send someone over to negotiate with this guy to get the ball back. And then he ended up getting the 601 ball after the fact. Once Brady threw that to Mike Evans again. But I'm pretty sure there was a Bitcoin involved.
Yep.
There was 2 season tickets for every Bucks home game for the next 2 years.
Yep.
He got a Mike Evans signed jersey, a Brady signed helmet, game cleats for Mike Evans, $100K to the team store, and I'm sure there might be other things. Oh yeah, 1K. Sorry.
I'm gonna say
Not
100K. He's gonna
Can
be
you
buying clothes. He's buying clothes for
buy the whole
city.
buy the whole
City.
store?
That's a lifetime.
I'm telling you.
He just goes in every
Dang.
day and just pulls stuff off the shelf. I got credit.
Yeah, I got this. Put it on my account. You know what I mean? I think he
Yes.
the only addition was he got 2 jerseys from Tom Brady.
That's wild.
He actually sold himself short. You know what he originally asked for? He asked just to
What?
play 18 holes with Tom. That's it. So yeah, just
Yeah.
let me play. I want to play one round with Brady.
He should have done what Tony. One date with Giselle.
Yeah, I saw that. Romo's like he doesn't care. He'll literally
Yeah.
say whatever he wants. He's like, what are they gonna do? CBS ain't gonna fire me.
Nah,
No,
they
Like,
offered him too
hey,
much
I'm-
money.
Careful.
He's
You
literally
never
the
know when you're gonna
only-
get canceled, bro.
Well, yeah, but he's not doing
He's
anything
not getting
ridiculous.
canceled for that. You know what I mean?
All right. Hey, so we had also Kenny. I know you had some pain with this in fantasy football, and I had some pain, but I made the right move. Darren Waller decided he was going to be inactive. He was a surprise downgrade later in the week of practice. If you do play fantasy football, make sure that you're paying attention to that Friday practice report. But usually, if someone's active all week in practice and then they go down to a do not participate, that's usually a bad sign that something happened, even if the injury report's not out. So he didn't play last week, but if you went and picked up his backup tight end, he played pretty well. Foster Moreau, he was pretty good. Mahomes got torched by the Titans. They just got smoked. Me and Brian were talking about this the other day, but like it's almost as if people have figured out how to cover Mahomes or how to lock down the Chiefs. Granted, their defense is pretty bad, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. But like, they're figuring out that if you take away the big play, you force them to have to beat you with the small stuff. And the Chiefs love their big plays. Kenny, you seem like you want to say something. Go ahead.
Literally, Tampa Bay put that on display last year. When they put it on
Yeah.
film, you gave a whole offseason for coaches to be like, okay, what exactly did they do? And if you look how teams is playing, Tampa and Tennessee are the only teams that actually figure it out. Right? And now everybody else is trying to replicate the same thing. Okay, slow it down. Because
I'm rolling
Patrick
my eyes.
Mahomes, would you roll your eyes?
Yeah, because I'm waiting for Brian, but go ahead.
Okay.
Keep going.
Yeah, my bad. So let me go faster. Okay, Kansas City, right? If you look at Patrick Mahomes over his whole career at Texas Tech, he was always a gunslinger. He's always going for a deep shot. He's always taking a chance, right? He came to the NFL. They cut that back a little bit, and then it started working again. So guess what? Creatures of habit. He wants to go for the deep shot, the deep shot, the deep shot. So now they're saying, listen, he doesn't even take what's in front of him, right? It'll be a check down. He won't even take that because he wants to go for the deep shot. So now they're saying take the check down, and it's literally hurting Patrick Mahomes inside to take the check down. Like you can see it. Like he's like, I don't want to, and then he goes later, and then it's a bad play because you should have did it from the beginning. And that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah, I like it.
That's cool. You just have your timeline off. It was the Patriots that first started this. They bracketed Tyreek Hill, and they slowed him down. Oh yeah, they held him to what? A touchdown and a half in the AFC Championship game in 2018.
It does. That's nothing. They also let up 31 points, and Pat Mahomes in that game against the Patriots had 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Okay.
You didn't. You guys kept up with them scoring wise. You didn't do what the Titans just did. You didn't do what the Tampa Bay Bucks did. So don't take credit for like the Patriots doing it. They still gave up a ton of yards. I wish I had. I don't know what Tyreek Hill had that game, but I mean, everyone else seemed like they were pretty much fine.
And they did.
You're right. Tyreek only had 1 catch for 42 yards, but he still had a bunch of runs at the running back got a ton of it. Damian Williams.
And the Titans did it in 2019 during the regular season when everybody thought the Chiefs couldn't be beat. And then the Titans beat them, and they're like, dang, man, how they did it? Then they just said, oh, it was just the run game from Derrick Henry, which he did go off that game, right? But their defense was good. So don't just say it's not always the Patriots, okay?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Bill came up with the game plan. Just remember that.
Yeah. Bill didn't play cover 2.
Hmm?
He didn't play cover 2.
He just played single high. And he had McCourty basically going on top of wherever Hill went. That was it.
All right.
Take away their deep shot. Make him matriculate the ball.
Tampa did it better, but whatever. Go ahead,
I
Ron.
want to hear you guys' opinions on Daniel Jones. It's like Mr. Heckle and John. Like you can't decide what he's gonna be. He is playing well, but then also looks bad sometimes. He still makes bonehead plays. Like if you were the Giants organization, I want to hear you guys' opinions. What would you do in this situation? You have 2 first round picks this year, one from the Bears and then ours. What would you do if you were the Giants and you're just based on Daniel Jones' performance right now, how he's been playing lately? Is it enough to move on as an organization, or is it like, hey, let's try and put more protection around this guy with offensive line help, and stuff like that? What do you think?
Go ahead, Brian.
Um,
Start off.
I think you keep him and you invest in surrounding him because I think they figured something out against Carolina this week. They started moving the pocket for him, start rolling him out, make the mistakes on the offensive line like less because you're moving you're just it's a zone blocking scheme at that point. You're just moving everybody, so you're making the defense have to react to that first before they can penetrate. So I mean, by doing that, you're covering up your mistakes. Their line sucks. We all know this. Could they get better picks? Maybe, but I think just getting him, they need to go after a weapon this year. I think they need to replace Evan Ingram for sure. He's got no hands. How many drops does he have this year? Probably like 10. I don't even know. Like the guy sucks. He's an athlete, cool, but you gotta make the catches, buddy. And yeah, Daniel Jones is gonna make some mistakes. He still has a problem holding onto the ball for sure. But if you protect him, he looked pretty good. Um, and I would add to that Carolina has a pretty good defense. So the fact that they were able to put up points was telling. Um, they just I think that the game plan had to change, and I think that they finally figured one thing out. Um, Maybe Jason Garrett's finally figured out his job's on the line, and maybe he's finally doing something. But I don't know. I think that you invest in the team and don't waste like restarting on a quarterback. Plus, the quarterback class this year is weak, so I would stay away from it.
Kenny?
He took the words out of my mouth. I totally agree with what Brian said.
Oh,
You move the. He's a mobile quarterback. He can move around a little bit, right? He's deceiving. So you move the pocket, right? Rollouts, play action, things like that, to where he has a different launch point. So he's not directly behind the line, because that's the weakness. Everybody knows that. And then you get better weapons. So you use those 2 first rounders to try to get better weapons, or use that as trade leverage to grab somebody to bring them over, right? Somebody that's actually going to be reliable, and then you go from there. Like the quarterbacks this class is not, it's not, they're not good. And then
Nope.
Pickett, I know he's been playing well, but I've seen him before. He's kind of like a Mitchell Trubisky to me. Like, yeah, he has one good year, but I don't think he's going to be the guy to change your program. So
sweet. Well, that's encouraging. All right. Zach Wilson had a PCL sprain. It looked pretty nasty, but he's out at least the next 2 weeks, potentially more. The Jets starting quarterback. They went and traded for Joe Flacco because he's going to solve all their issues. So they traded the Eagles to get Joe Flacco back in town. He's not going to start this week, but it's going to be Matt White, I think, or I think that's the quarterback's name. The Bears have some signs of life for this weekend. Matt Nagy tested positive for COVID-19 on Monday, so he's potentially not going to coach for the team this weekend. He's a little iffy, but
They're gonna get a dub now.
The Bears might have some offensive life coming up. The Browns look to have their starting running back Nick Chubb and Baker Mayfield back on the field. I don't know if the Baker Mayfield thing is a good thing, but the Nick Chubb thing is excellent. You want to have that guy on the field, especially you haven't really seen him a ton without Kareem Hunt, but I highly doubt with the way that Dearness Johnson played last week that they're going to give Nick Chubb like the entire workload, especially coming off of an injury, even though I think he deserves it. So you'll probably still see some Dearness Johnson in that Kareem Hunt role. And then the Broncos acquired the linebacker from the Rams, Kenny Young, via trade. And then another big news is the Packers wide receiver core is coming down with the entire being put on the COVID-19 list. Devontae Adams is out. Um, he is. I think I heard he was vaccinated, and it's a little iffy. I don't think he's going to be ready for Thursday, but because he needs, if they're vaccinated, they need to have two negative tests within a 24-hour span, and I don't know if he's going to make that timeline. But um, Lazard, their second receiver who had a breakout game last week, um, he's definitely out because I think he's on vax and won't be playing this week. Man, I'm just scrolling through. Let me know if you guys. Oh, this is an interesting thing. I heard that if the Rams make the playoffs, they could they're cautiously optimistic that Cam Akers could be back. I don't know how effective he'd be, but like, Achilles is a pretty tough injury to come back from. So they're cautiously optimistic, aka I'll see a way. I'll see a way. A trade that I love that went down is Mark Ingram back to the Saints. I think the reunion of Mark Ingram with Alvin Kamara is amazing for Kamara, specifically Kamara. Like people are like, oh well, they're taking he's gonna take rushing yards away from Kamara. He's been running. He's gone over carries like 3 or 4 times this year already, and he hasn't hit I think he hit 100 yards once, and when he had like 26 carries. That's not where Kamara wants to live. He wants to have Ingram come in. He be that first down, second down
the
back.
Bruiser, yeah.
Yeah, the bruiser. Kamara comes in and spells them, gets a 14-yard run because they're not expecting him to run the ball, and then have him do what he did last week, which was like 10 receptions for 170 yards and like a touchdown. That's what Kamara wants. So I think that's a great trade for the Saints, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. They still have to deal with Jameis Winston, who does not look like he's playing well. So like it's not no bueno. Jerry Jeudy is coming back. He's expected to play against the Washington football team this week from his ankle injury. I'm so surprised about this. I know it wasn't that bad of an ankle, but it looked way worse than it did. Like when it happened, because he was like, I think it was the way he reacted. He was like on the floor, thriving in pain, holding his ankle. But it ended up being, I think it was like a high ankle sprain, and he was on IR for a little while, and then now he's expected to come back and play this week. So I'm looking forward to that as a fantasy football owner of him.
That's the Florida in him.
Yeah, they heal quick.
No, we have all the theatrics.
Oh yeah,
it's not as big.
theatrics.
You know what I mean?
Hey, the Deshaun Watson trade rumors are just swirling around. They say Miami's like interested in doing some 3-way trade, but then there was like a report saying it was like a false report, that this is not true. But then like the Panthers came out and said they're not expected to pursue Watson because the Deshaun Watson has a no trade clause, and he's only approved the Dolphins as a team that he'd go to. So I don't think he wants to go play for like the Panthers. Not sure why not, because they have a pretty good defense, in my opinion. So, and they have a good offensive weapon. So I don't know why you wouldn't want to go there. But I don't see Deshaun Watson playing football this year with all his legal issues, and the NFL's still investigating. So I don't know. It's wild times we're living in. And Khalil Mack's not expected to play this week, and he might go on IR with a foot injury. But that's all I got.
Well, we shouldn't even talk. You touch on everything in NFL.
Hey man, I just scroll down the list, man, and I try and get your guys' opinion on things. Yeah. There was an update on the Rooney Rule. They're like a more extensive, like you can now interview head coaches during 2 weeks of the season. That's a rule that the NFL implemented, and then there was a Rooney Rule update, but I don't have it on me right now. I'll look it up and try and give it later.
I'm about to say I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even know where
the Rooney Rule is. Isn't that the one that's for minorities coaches? You have to interview a certain amount of minority coaches.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Yeah. I thought we were talking about like interviews during the year, like talking about the football season. I didn't think we were talking about like all season stuff, like
Yeah.
what coaches changes. All right, that was good. Oh well, I
Yeah.
appreciate that, Ryan. So getting straight into the great debate, we're still going to be on football. The great debate for this week is I want you guys' opinion on a team that needs to make a trade with the deadline coming up, right? A trade to make a playoff run. Like, who do you think is a team that needs to take a certain position to help them get over the edge or over the hump?
I'll go first because mine I think is pretty easy. We all know if you're watching football this year that the Chiefs need help on defense. Like, yeah, they have some struggles on offense, and you could argue that they need like another receiver to maybe like an Allen Robinson or someone that's being like that's underplaying on their current team, and you could make an argument for a receiver. But I want to say they need help on the defensive side of the ball. Um, they do have a pretty good pass rusher, but they're not getting a ton of pass rush, and that could be trouble on the back end because receivers are getting open so easily. So I'm gonna say that the Dolphins, Xavier Howard, is a player that I think the Chiefs should go after because they don't have very good corners in Kansas City, and they were already the Dolphins were already looking to trade him. So and then they called off talks, and he's been playing. They're they're not gonna Chiefs aren't gonna do anything without some kind of defense, and Spags needs to get that pass rush going. But I think he could scheme some stuff up if he's got some help in the corner department.
Yeah, I don't.
That's it. I mean,
I
yeah.
I don't think a corner even helps them, right? I don't think the issue is necessarily the defense because it's been that way since the beginning of time. I feel like every year their defense is trash, and then they get to the playoffs, and then their defense, muscles up and it actually plays decent. I think the biggest issue is going to be on offense. They need a running back. Like they need a running back. Really, don't even need a player. They need to commit to the run. Like they keep wanting to throw
Yeah.
the ball 60 times a game, and Patrick Mahomes is great. Don't get me wrong, but without a run, the offense is not effective. If I'm a defensive coordinator and I know that you guys want to throw 90% of the time, okay, I'm gonna go in all pass coverage and force you guys to run. The Chiefs literally are not taking anything that's given to them. Hey, take the check down. I don't want to do it. Hey, it's 5 men in the box. Run the ball. No, I'm still going to run and put an RPO to where I can throw it out and let Patrick Mahomes sling the ball around. So like, I don't think that you know the defense is the issue. I think if anything is offensive mindset, and they need to be able to run the ball. And with that being said, they need a better running back, right? I think they should easily go grab a running back from one of these teams that has a plethora of backs and say, hey, listen, we need you just to be a bruiser. They don't have a bruiser, right? They're trying to make Daryl Williams a bruiser, and he's only like 200 pounds, if that, right? I'm being generous, right? CEH is not it, right? He's at LSU, he looks like, oh yeah, he's a scat back runabout, but he ran through the tackles, but he's not a bruiser. He can bruise, but he's not a bruiser. That's not what he wants to do, right? It's kind of like the Kamara thing. Like, do I want to run through the tackles? Not really. If I have to, I will. So I
What
don't
about
want to like.
Marlon?
Like if they got Marlon Mack, I think that would be a good addition. Just because Marlon Mack is going to play his heart out because he knows right now he has no opportunity. After this year, the Colts did the little, hey, here's a lifeline for you, but they're not even playing him. So like after this year, he's done. So he's going to play his heart out. I think that would be a good addition rather than going to get a corner because, like I said, defense I don't think is really that issue when it comes to clutch time. But that's just my caveat too. That.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan. I think it's defense they need. Um, didn't they already trade for a corner earlier in the year? Didn't they get like Mike Hughes or something like that? Am I
Yeah,
wrong
in
in
the
saying that?
beginning. In the
Yeah.
beginning, yeah, yeah.
So I don't know what happened there. Apparently he ain't the right
He ain't
thing.
the
Or
one.
I mean, I will say this: anytime I see Daniel Sorensen out there, I want to puke. That guy sucks and blows and ugh, God, he's atrocious. He needs to just retire. Okay. Um, yeah, they need they need a safety. I don't know who, but they need a safety because they get exploited all the time on deep shots. So I would get a safety before a corner, um, and that's just my opinion.
Well, you can
All
go
right.
ahead and wrap right into it, Brian. Who's
Okay.
your pick? Yeah.
Yeah, my pick. Surprise, surprise. I'm gonna talk about the Patriots because,
You went to who?
yeah,
I almost dropped dead. I almost dropped dead.
Well, I thought you said somebody else other than the Patriots. Come on now.
listen,
What to
listen.
say? We all know
They
it's the Patriots.
they're gonna go into L.A. this week and dominate. So
What?
just wanted to throw that out to you, Kenny. Uh,
Dominate who?
the
They
Chargers.
they stomp the Jets, and it's like the world has changed. It's like the last 3 weeks has just gone away.
You must have forgot what happened the last time the Chargers stepped on the field.
What?
Did you
What
forget the
happened?
last they lost to the Ravens bad? You
Okay.
think Justin Herbert's gonna have 2 games bad in a row? He's about to embarrass
After a bye
y'all.
week,
After a bye
they've been
week? Come on.
preparing for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Come on.
Hey, let's hope so.
Anyway,
I guess
go ahead.
they
Talk
got
about
dumped
this.
on 45 zip by a Cam Newton led offense last year. Just so you know. But anyways, I digress. No, the Patriots, if they want to make a run, they need a corner. They need to go after Kyle Fuller from the Broncos. Um, he's a cheap option. He's on a 1 year deal. The Broncos need to start playing for the future because I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I think the other three teams in their division are going to make it before they do. So they might as well just get a pick out of it or something. Um, and really, they don't. I don't think they have long term plans for him. So why not move on from him? Um, yeah, that's about it. I mean, the Patriots need a corner. They weren't, and because he's cheap and only on a 1 year deal, it makes sense. And so anybody that's like saying like, oh, well, why did they trade Stephon Gilmore? It's because Gilmore wanted money and he wanted a bigger contract, and they didn't want to pay him. Like it has nothing to do with the position. They need the position, but they got rid of Gilmore because he wasn't going to play ball with them under his current contract. So yeah, so I would go Kyle Fuller. That's a good option.
I thought you said the strength of your defense was the secondary.
Yeah, well, Jonathan Jones just got put on the IR. He's going to be out for a few weeks. And Jalen Mills blows. So, other than blowing up screen passes, he doesn't do anything effectively on the field.
I told you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I didn't necessarily disagree with you then either. But at the time, I thought he was going to be like the third or fourth corner. And now he's the number 2 corner. And it's not good.
Yeah, I think you. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think you need way more than just a corner. That's not gonna get it done for y'all. Y'all need way more than a corner. Y'all need some corners. Y'all need some linebackers. Like some.
Talking about, we got the gang back together. We got Kyle Van Noy. We got Jamie Collins. With
Hey,
Hightower, bro.
bro, that's like
Those old,
recycled
slow
trash, bro.
guys.
That's recycled trash. Go ahead and take it to the front of the house. Throw it in the dumpster. That's trash.
Yeah,
You
I know.
think you can get it done with the offensive weapons that you guys have?
Yeah, I
I
never
figured
said
you'd
that.
go after receiver.
Oh,
No.
Like,
you need a star.
Well, yeah, but
star.
who are they gonna get a star? Who
No,
who
I'm
could they
not.
trade
Allen
for? Right?
Robinson.
That's not a
Robinson.
star.
It.
Yes, he
He's
is.
no,
He's a
not.
star on the right, bro. He's just in a trash offense.
I
He's
know,
in a trash offense, and he still puts up numbers.
but they need a guy
Well, he's
that's.
not this
They
year.
need a guy more
Not
like
this year,
Odell.
100%.
They need like an Odell, not an Allen Robinson.
No. Odell. Oh my
No,
goodness.
those
Allen Robinson.
trash.
Do you remember what he did last year with
They
Mitch
don't.
Trubisky? He
I
had 1,200
understand that,
yards, 102
but
catches, and
they
6
already have
touchdowns.
guys like him. Maybe they're not as good as him, but they have guys that play like him.
No,
They
they
need
have
a
guys that play
take the
like
top off of field. Like they need a guy that goes deep.
Jacoby.
They got
Jacoby
Bourne.
Myers. Jacoby Myers and Bourne can both play in the slot. That's the same thing that Odell does. You don't actually have a possession receiver that's a big body like Allen Robinson. You don't.
You don't.
No,
You don't have it.
We don't need that. We need an Odell.
Okay, now he's an Odell fan. All right,
Yeah, that is an Odell.
all right, man. Well,
But,
I'll get
yeah, I
into
think you need receiver.
yeah. That's what I'm saying too. You guys need more than that, but anyway, I'll get
Kendrick
into my.
Bourne. Go get Kendrick Bourne if you're a fantasy player.
Oh
That's
my
all I'm
gosh.
saying.
Go get
Hey,
Brandon
my
Cooks.
am
Nah, he's a headache.
yeah, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking the Bucks as a team that needs to have an addition. and acquire Jets free safety Marcus May, only because Marcus May is trying to get a contract extension and he's not happy. So I feel like the Jets know that he's not going to resign with them, just like they did with Jamal Adams. So maybe they can get Marcus May for just a playoff push, maybe a third rounder or a fourth rounder or something like that, just for a playoff push because the Bucks secondary is literally depleted. Like they're here for 2 weeks hurt, and it's not like one person hurt. It's like they're all hurt. Like they all call each other and find, bro, we getting hurt this week. All right, cool. Everybody just disappears, and then they just like scramble for corners, scramble for anybody. And I think if anything is going to hurt the Bucks, because on offense they are a machine, they are a machine. But defense, their front eight is decent when David and Devin White is healthy, but their corners and their free safety and strong safety secondary as a whole is really what's going to hurt them. So,
Wait, who are their current safeties right now? I know they got Winfield Jr.
Yeah, Winfield Jr. and
He,
they have
he's injured.
Whitehead. No, he's back. He's actually back.
Yeah.
Whitehead, he just came back. Whitehead is healthy right now as well, but like they need with May, he can go ahead and line up in the nickel as well, right? He is able let you be able to run like dime defense. You can still do a plethora of different things that since he can play both free safety and strong safety, right? I looked at his stats. Last game he had 15 tackles at free safety, right? We talked about this all weekend. Hey man, free safety, free safety, free safety. We talked about this, but if your free safety is having 15 tackles, y'all got a problem, like a problem. And he had, and it was for them 15 tackles, it was like 8 solos.
Yeah,
Where's everybody at?
I bet most of those were against Damian Harris because he was shredding the Jets last week.
Yeah,
he was in the secondary like every play.
Couldn't wait to get that.
Listen, I know Marcus May is probably calling right now, like, "Hey, tell his agent, y'all got to get me out of here because I'm about to get hurt. As many tackles as I'm getting, I'm about to get hurt." So,
Kenny, I can't even argue with you. And if I had to pick a winner, you'd be the winner because I mean, Marcus May matches up. He's exactly what the Bucks need. And he's got that connection with Todd Bowles, who's the defensive coordinator, who drafted him, and like he knows exactly what he's getting in a player like that, and that'd be essentially the perfect fit for him. He'd be able to do exactly what made him great on the Jets. He'd be able to do that exactly for the Bucks. So I mean, you win
and have help.
Ryan loses.
Too easy. Well, I appreciate you guys not putting up a fight. Because I clearly was right. So we'll just go straight into Ryan's fantasies now and wrap it up for the great debate for this week.
All right. So this week we have a couple games on the slate. I'm gonna go ahead and go over them. The Titans and the Colts are playing. That's a 49.5 point over under. If you want to roll the dice with Derrick Henry, he's starting to get a little expensive. I think I saw him last week at $11,000 on FanDuel. So like. It sucks because he's so high up there, but he's like literally the safest bet for points that you could possibly have. You're not going to lose your week because you throw Derrick Henry in your lineup. The Colts offense looks like it's getting a lot better. Pittman looks like he's the go-to like red zone target for Carson Wentz. Wentz is actually playing pretty well. And Jonathan Taylor surprises you with a bunch of long runs. So those are players that I'd be interested to play. Like Jonathan Taylor might have 14 carries for like 21 yards, and then the fourth quarter comes and it'll be 15 carries for 150 because he decided to bustle and loose. Like, you know what I mean? And Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Tampa Bay has just been steamrolling teams lately. With Brady, he's just going nuts. He's an easy W every time you put him in the lineup. The game's a 50.5 point over under, and Tampa Bay is a 4.5 point favorite in that game. So if you attack people like Brady, he's starting to get a connection with Mike Evans. But I will caution you, Mike Evans does this from year to year. He goes 3 touchdown game, 1 catch game. So I would not be surprised if he gets like another 1 catch game this week. The only caveat being is that Antonio Brown is on a crutch right now. He's like on crutches. Like he's probably not going to play this week, but like Bruce Arians gave the obligatory coach speak where he's like, we're not going to call him out, but it's not looking good.
He's on crutches?
Yeah, he was on a crutch. He was seen on a crutch, using a crutch to walk.
Damn.
So his
what did he hurt?
I think it's like a knee injury or something.
I don't know why I thought it was minor. I didn't think it was major like that. It's crazy.
Well, I thought it was minor too, and then all of a sudden it's potentially more long term.
All right.
It's potentially a more long term issue.
Another loss for
we'll
me.
see what happens. I know it's rough because I was all hyped on the Bills versus Miami is another underrated stat game that you can go on. It's 48 points. Bills have been playing great. They're minus 13.5 point favorites, so that's a big margin for the Bills. Josh Allen's playing like he should be playing. I think he's like he's top 5 so far, so I'm looking pretty good in that bet so far. Emmanuel Sanders looks like his go-to red zone target, but I will caveat this with Stephon Diggs is going to get some touchdown positive regression. Like he's not getting in the end zone right now, and you're not seeing a lot of blow-up games, but I bet you coming off of a bye week, Stephon Diggs is pulling Josh Allen aside, be like, hey man, I need the ball like in the red zone. So I would not be surprised if Diggs has like a blow-up game this week where he gets in the end zone at least twice. That's just my opinion. You guys could take it for what it is. And then a game like I'm trying to stay away from is the Seahawks and the Jaguars game because I just don't like anything that Geno Smith is doing, and you can't trust him. Last week, granted, it was terrible weather out there, but they hit DK Metcalf for one pass, 84 yards, and then they don't target him again until the midway through the third quarter. Like it was like the weirdest game plan ever. It was like, oh, let's do something successful. Granted, it was like a broken play. The safety overshot it, and he broke a tackle and he ran in the end zone. But like, that's your best player. Maybe you should give him more targets. Tyler Lockett just ain't it right now with Geno. They don't have that same kind of chemistry.
I said, is Tyler Lockett a lock? Yeah, he's a lock. You can't take him out there start lineup. I said the week before he wasn't getting targets like that. Nah, he's a lock. Bro should have just stayed at home.
It was hey man, Tyler Lockett's a good player. I don't understand what the Seahawks are doing right now, and I'm usually a big Alex Collins fan because I like him as a running back whenever I see him play, but it looks like the Seahawks are headed towards this like committee role where they're going to be like 5 carries for you, 5 carries for you, 5 carries for you, and nobody. So like that doesn't look like it's going to be great. I say all this, and then they're playing against Jacksonville, so they're probably gonna get he's gonna have a great game. But I try not to start Alex Collins. On the other side of that game, I do like some of their running back option. I like the James Robinson, who we should have all listened to Kenny. Granted, you could not predict the ETN injury, but Kenny did say at the beginning of the year that he was hyped about James Robinson. He's like, you can't forget what this man did last year as an undrafted rookie. And we all forgot about it. And I think even Nick Saban forgot about it a little bit because he had a slow start to the season.
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer. Yes. Sorry.
Roll Tide, but Urban Meyer.
Yeah. So I think he forgot about it a little bit. Brian, you got anything? I think that's it for me.
Nick Saban doesn't want any parts in the NFL, okay? He's good.
No, because he knows.
He's good.
He's a king. Why would you ever go back to the NFL?
No.
He's got nothing to prove.
At all. Well, we appreciate that for Ryan's Fantasies. I just want to let you guys know I'm wearing all black. For our listeners out there, I'm wearing all black because it's a funeral. Because BK Betts has literally been sucking your pockets dry. Like we've been just taking money out your pockets, been robbing you, right? So I apologize in advance for that, but we're gonna do better. So let's get straight into it. NCAA this week. Miami versus Pitt over 61. I know people are like, what? Pickett, I know I was talking about he's not that guy, but in college, he's that guy. So he's been putting a lot of points up. Miami's been giving up a lot of points. They're playing away. They're playing at home. I think that they would play a little tighter, but they're playing away. So I like how Van Dyke has been looking. So I think they're over 61. Iowa plus 3.5. Nobody's giving them any chance. I guess they forgot that Iowa's the number 2 team in the country, so they said they're completely trash since they lost to Purdue. But they're playing at Wisconsin, which should be a decent game. I know Wisconsin will play them a little close, but plus 3.5, I'll take it. They might lose by a field goal, but guess what? That's why the hook's there. And then Penn State playing against Ohio State at the Horseshoe. I know a lot of people are on Ohio State heavy, but Clifford, I like how he plays. They said he should be 100% this week. And you tell me in a rival game, 18.5 points? Like, that's a little much, in my opinion. That's a little much. And I think that Penn State plays way closer than that. So I think that's a lock for the 3-teamer. That's what I got for NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with any of your picks. I don't mind them. I probably would have stayed away from that Iowa Wisconsin game personally, but that's probably the side I'd hedge my bets on too. So, but anyways, NFL, I got a little 3-team parlay. I got I got Miami plus 13.5 at Buffalo. I think with Tua back, the Dolphins are a much better team with him. I'm still not a Tua guy. Don't get me wrong, but
Didn't put that caveat in there.
but also I think it's a matchup thing. With this game, I think that their defense matches up fairly well against the Bills' offense, so I think they can keep it closer than 2 scores. I think that's a little high of an over or a of a spread. So I think we'll make some money there. And then I got
Hey,
yep.
quick, can we do like a friendly bet on Russo versus Phillips in this game since they're playing each other? Gregory Russo and like Phillips?
Let's circle it back. So Brian can think
Yeah.
a little bit. Brian needs to think a little bit.
All right. The second part of my parlay, I got New England plus 6. People forget they won 45-0 against the Chargers in LA last year. Now, granted, LA is they're better this year than they were last year for sure. But I think that the Patriots are a little bit better than they were last year. Cam Newton only had 69 passing yards last year, and they stomped them. So I'm just saying it's basically the same teams going at it again. So I think it's gonna be at least a close game. I got New England plus 6.
Didn't
Uh,
didn't Cam get 2 rushing touchdowns that game?
yeah, but he only had like 50 yards on the run too. The offenses, both offenses were under 300 yards total. They didn't. Both teams. It was a defensive play, defensive scores. I think they had a punt return for a touchdown and a block field goal for a touchdown. So that's what ran up the score. And then they just dominated field position all game. But anyways, um, and then I got Dallas -1 against Minnesota. It's basically a pick 'em. I like Dallas against Minnesota. It's in Minnesota, but Dallas is on fire right now. So I hope the bye week didn't cool them off.
So I like every pick but the Chargers pick. That pick with the Chargers in England. That's the home run. There's no way. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
There's no way that they're playing them close. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say you guys' secondary is trash.
Okay.
It's trash. I'm just letting you know. I know
Yeah.
Bill's gonna try and everything.
Bell's defense sucks too. So let's remember that.
Our defense is gonna play better than yours at home. I'm telling you. After we got embarrassed, they're gonna knuckle up a little bit.
We'll see. I
They're gonna
guess
knuckle up. So
we'll see.
I like to. So guys out there, 2-teamer, right? I don't normally don't go against Brian what he says, but a 2-teamer. Don't put that Chargers pick on there because you're gonna be very upset.
People just need to remember. I was right about the Bucks game with the Patriots. They kept it within 6 points against Dallas. So those are 2 other great offenses that New England played with. They've stuck with them. So don't get confused, Kenny. This is still a well-coached team, and they will compete, and it will be a close game.
We will see. We'll stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. By the way, follow us.
I'll take the money line against you, Kenny. Let's do it. Little action between you and I on the
All
side.
right, I'm for it. Put me down right now. Episode 27, right? $100.
It's happening.
Chargers
Yeah.
Okay.
versus New England.
All
Easy.
right. Let's do it.
No question.
All right.
The only
So
reason why Brian wants to do this is because he knows that this is it. Like they need to make up some grounds for some of the games that they lost
Or
to
he's wrong.
get his picks, and this is one of them.
But follow us on Action Sports, by the way, guys. Follow us on Action Sports. We're gonna have more picks on there. We got a few more college picks. I know Brian normally throws a couple more NFL picks, and the NBA is picking up, so we'll throw some NBA picks in there as well, and try to get this thing back on track because right now it's derailed. So we'll get it back on track and make sure we'll slow and steady, and we'll win the race. But then I want Ryan to say his little wager that he wants to say with Gregory Rousseau and Phillips. So let's do it.
Oh, I just wanna say that Phillips will have a better game than Russo.
Better game meaning
And
what?
How do we measure
whatever category. Well, I mean, if one gets a sack and the other one doesn't get a sack, then that individual obviously wins.
Why?
For each category, we're saying. So if he has more
Yeah,
tackles,
yeah.
he doesn't. Cool, he gets 1 point. Sack. Okay, he gets a point.
Tackle for loss,
Yeah.
point.
Okay. That's a little bit better.
Whoever gets the most.
I didn't want to base it on just sacks because I was going to say tackles for loss. You could be a run stuffer.
What's the wager?
I was gonna. I don't know. I didn't want to do anything crazy because like the only difference. Yeah,
'Cause he's
I'm not
scared.
scared.
Tight pockets
the-
out there.
I'm not scared. The only reason why I would be a little scared is because the offense is better for the Bills, and they potentially could be running the clock out a lot and have less opportunities to get sacks and things like that. Whereas Tua might be down a lot, throwing the ball a ton. There's a lot more like obvious passing downs. Russo is going to be in there.
We don't want the excuse. You put
I'm
the
just
wager out
saying.
there.
That's why.
So if you put the wager out there, then you need to put something up. Don't put a wager out there and then say, I don't want to really do it.
A Chick-fil-A meal, not a sponsor.
A Chick-fil-A meal.
Yeah. Well, Brian's Chick-fil-A meal is like a 30 count nugget. Like,
Bro, I don't mess around.
All right. A Chick-fil-A meal. That's a new one. We haven't said Tomahawk steak. We put money up there. Chick-fil-A meal.
not a
Whoever has
sponsor.
the better stats. Gregory Rousseau versus Jalen Phillips. Too easy.
I'm on Russo's side, just so you know.
Brian's on Rousseau.
Obvious.
The reason why we're saying that, guys, is because lately we have been having little discrepancies in our bets. So we're just trying to make sure we are tracking and everybody else is tracking, so we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, my guys, anything else before I close this out?
No. Patriots aren't going to win.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you adding that in. Guys, as always, follow us on the socials, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe to us, Two Joes and a Pro. We're going to continue to add more, continue to get better. We appreciate the support. And you guys have a blessed week. And go Chargers, Roll Tide, and go Gregory Rousseau.